However, at the same time, just having a clear why only is also not enough.
It's not
correct?
enough. So I have three criteria
Yeah.
in investing in a startup. One, for sure, the why. I need to know their fire. How big is their fire? Because I believe that the bigger the fire, the bigger the why, the easy the how. The smaller the how.
In another way, how personal it is for that person.
Yeah, correct.
Right?
Correct. The more they're personal and very high conviction and really believe in it, they would go through any challenges they throw at you. Because at early stage, it will be very challenging. Trust me. You want to have why or not, it will be challenging. So better you have that anchor and your pillar and that light and that infinite gas. Right? Because I cannot feel that gas, right? The second one that I need is self-awareness for them.
In terms of what? Like knowing your why is also self-awareness,
Yes,
no?
but this is deeper. So knowing self-awareness, knowing their limiting beliefs, and then break through it. And they really work through their limiting beliefs.
Can you share like examples, like stories about that from your experience?
So for example, like they know that these are their weaknesses, this is their strength, and they know that they need to learn to break through their issues, like their mental block. A lot of these startups have mental block. Can I do it? Can I do it? They have this feeling not enough sometimes, right? That's their mental block sometimes. So they need to understand, oh yeah, I have that mental block. Oh, let me work on that. Oh, I have this pattern in my life. And they start pondering, how can I break through that?
Don't you think, if not most, maybe a lot of people, one way or another, have different limiting beliefs?
Correct.
Right?
Everybody have limiting beliefs, but having awareness, what kind of limiting beliefs that you have, that is the first step.
And we're talking about something that's subconscious.
Subconscious. It's like, why am I always in this pattern? Why am I always mad at all the time whenever I got triggered about this? I mean, you don't want to have a mad founder all the time, right? So you want to have founders who are mindful and self-aware about themselves. Okay, I'm aware that I have this problem, I have this anger problem, I have this. You cannot be having an angry founder who shoots at everyone, right? In the office, and nobody wants to work for that guy. No partner or suppliers or customers want to work for that person. You want more sustainable company, right? So you need to have sustainable founder. So the founder's foundation needs to be better. Doesn't mean you have to be perfect when you meet me. But you are aware, yes, I do have an anger problem and I'm working on it right now.
And how do you figure that out? How can you find out whether this person is aware or not with his or her beliefs?
You can tell, right?
And what are they? And
I will ask them a series of questions.
Can you share examples?
I would just start with, how is your relationship with your father? That will trigger them. Right? How is your relationship with your mother? Because that is key things that they need to understand. How they answer about their family, normally it shows, are they distant? Are they aware of their family issue? Or will they just like answer, oh, I'm fine. Or we're good. Like very standard. People who are self-aware, they're like, oh yeah, I used to have this thing with my dad, or I admire my dad because of this, or I see that I'm a lot like my father, like this, or there's some degree of awareness of, they have either they have problem with someone and they're working on it. For example, oh yeah, I'm mad at my father when I was a kid, and then I'm like working on it right now, and I knew I want to improve myself, not to be like him. At that time, do they have the angst? Because I have that issue too with my father. A long time ago, I didn't talk to my father for 5 years, which affected my businesses, how I run my business. I was an angry boss all the time because I didn't know that I have this anger that I projected. You know what I'm saying? So there are a lot of things that is we're not mindful that we pick up a lot of the things, that the habits or the beliefs that we pick up right now, it is actually our unresolved patterns, whether it's good or bad, from our ancestors or people around us. What kind of background are they from, right? And then are they dealing with it? Because that can carry over. So I scan them not just on themselves per se. How are they dealing with their surrounding? Because I believe that entrepreneur, it is not just about their business. You have to have a holistic approach to them. Their also family will affect them definitely. The way they take care of themselves will determine how they take care of their business. How they get parented from the parents is also how they will parent the employees.
Because in a way it's a good leader. Not exactly parenting like parenting an infant, but in a way it has some positive parenting qualities that you need to have as
Either
as
you have
leader.
a positive parenting or you have negative parenting. Of course, we have both sides, right? In a parent, they're not perfect parent. So it's about how do you deal with it, and then how do you accept that part of you and accept that part of your family, because your business is your family. It's direct reflection of your own family. There is this what do you call it? There's a mirror between the energy of your family and your business.
A mirror? No, what do you mean by that?
So there was this one that I saw. It's like how you treat your parent, or how your parent treat you. Okay, your relationship with your parent is a lot like your relationship with your investor. Okay? And how you treat your kids, it's a lot like you treat your employees. But of course, you pick a lot of your parenting skill from your parents, right? So it's, you know what I mean? And then your spouse, your romantic partner, it is a lot like your business partner, how your relationship with your business partner, if you have one. So it's kind of like unresolved issues here, you will bring it here. Unresolved there, you will bring it there. So I start noticing this actually a few years back during the banking crisis. There is this, if you guys remember, Silicon Valley Bank was failing, Credit Suisse was failing. There was a winter fund raising basically right now in the startup scene. Very hard to get investment because of the banking crisis. So of course, during pandemic, of course, at that time, business were not doing well either. So the startup investing was not great. So I start noticing, I have friends in the investor side, I have friends who got invested also, right? So both sides will come to me. Some got invested by a friend, some invested in a friend, some like totally not related, right? Both go to me, right? Like both bitch about each other, basically. And then I noticed that whatever, for example, the investor complained about the startup, and the startup complained about the investors, I asked them. For example, the startup that complained about the investor, I asked this one question: who does your investor remind you of in your life? And then you know the answer normally? Oh shit, it's like my mother. She's as annoying as my mother, like she thinks I'm not good enough, la 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 la. See, I said, it is not the problem of your investor, it is your issue with your mother. Same thing with the investor. I asked the same question. Who does she remind you of? normally they will say the same thing too. Which is like my mother is so incapable, blah, 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 blah. And then it's funny, at one time, there's this investor in startup, actually this one invested in this, both complained to me, right? So I told them, you know what, separately, they don't know that I talk to each other, right? So I told them that you both are just a mirror of your own mothers. So you go back, solve your mother issues, okay? That's all I can tell them. So that brings on the self-awareness.
Do you have any example of when these founders or these investees they realize their limiting beliefs, and maybe one of them is about their relationship with their parents?
Yes.
And then they
feel they're not good enough.
and
right?
then they
A
do
lot of
something
them.
about it. They try to overcome it, and then they did.
Yes, of course.
And how does that impact their
So
business
when
afterwards?
Yeah, so when I talk to them, then they start to realize that, because at some point they just don't want to talk to each other, right? After they realize, oh, that's actually about my mother, then I'm like, oh, okay. Then they start fixing whatever they're fixing at home.
I'm sorry to cut you again, but when you explain this to them, did they like believe it right away, or like were they like, what does this have to do with
No,
my
they
mother?
actually, I slowly get them to that mood, mode, right? So they start being reflective. And then previously they also complain about their mother anyway. So I know their personal issues anyway.
Okay.
So I'm like, okay, I'll work on it, right? So then after they work on it, then they can look at each other differently, you see, because they look at their mother differently, and they know how to separate the issues again. But they still need to work on it, you see. So that is the connection between knowing yourself. Knowing yourself is all of you, is not just you. You are a product of your community. Our first community is our parents, right? And then our second community, the trauma can come from the parents, can come from whatever previously. It may be in your previous businesses. Can be in your school. When you were at school, maybe you were bullied, and you feel you are being bullied by the investors. You see what I mean? So it's just a repeating pattern until they learn the lesson. So I always emphasize on, you gotta learn your lesson, because if not, it keeps repeating harder and harder until you learn. That's how the universe works.
And then use what you learned.
Yes. That is actually one of the how you actually unlock your abundance.
By it identifying our limiting beliefs as well.
How you know your lessons. How do you unlock your limiting beliefs? Is by unlocking your lessons. Once you get the lesson, that's where the gold is.
So have a clear why, self-aware, and the third thing?
Third thing is business skill. They just have to have business skill. Come on.
Right.
I mean, I'm just being realistic here, right?
Of course.
That's why I put it even in the number 3. Because business skill, I can teach you. You can learn. You can learn in YouTube, Google. You can go get your business coach. You can go study. You can get mentor for your businesses. Learn what are your skill that you need. You can learn all that. That's why I put number 3. But number 1 and 2, it takes inner work, knowing themselves as a human being. So that's why I teach my friends who are investors or startups. I told them, start seeing each other as human beings. Beyond that they are investors, beyond that they are your investees. Start looking also your parents as a human being. Nobody is perfect. When you see their pain, then you know why they become like that. Because I always say that you cannot hate anyone if you know their life story from birth to death. So know your parents' story. Know your friends' stories. Know why they're doing what they're doing. Because nobody is born evil. I don't believe that. Something makes them that way. So if you know the root issue, why they're like that, what is their pain, then you start seeing them as a human. Then you also see yourself as a human being. So that is things that you don't get taught in school.
Yeah.
And that requires inner development, the IDG. Self-beingness, knowing relationship to self. But self, there are so many different aspects that makes you like this. So knowing what is the root issue, the patterns that you have, what is the limiting belief systems, what are the patterns, what do I need to break, the negative, right? You want to break the negative. So you're not always in fight all the time. You're not fighting fires. The fighting fires outside is actually you gotta fight the fire inside. It looks like you're arguing with your investor or your startup, right? But actually, oh shit, it is something that I haven't accepted about my mother, for example. Which is about the inner change.
Yeah. That reflection, that mirror thing again.
Correct. Very simple, actually. That's the secret of abundance, if you want to really know abundance. Abundance is not about money.
Yeah.
Money is just a result of your inner work.